morning. It's the 15th of July 2024 here in my cutting garden on the Cotswold Edge. It's looking so colourful at the minute, so I would love to show you around. For a change, I thought I'd start on the patio. So these old wheelbarrows are potted up with herbs, and the agapanthus has already started to pop.
The phlox drumondii, cherry caramel and creme brulee make excellent hanging baskets.
The apple mint I've used hundreds of stems already, so really pleased with the apple mint. I've already started taking some of the things out that were here. There's still a little bit of nigella left, just one plant of African bride. There's some nigella seed pods which I will probably dry. This bed of cornflower has now been replaced by a small patch of Rudbeckia, the patch that survived. And this lot of cornflower sadly now needs to come out. It's just a bit unusable now. So that's one of my jobs for this week. The order has had a bit of a tidy up and I'm gradually putting it down to more perennials. So things like all the honesty that was in here has come out, quite a lot of the aquilegia actually. Yes, I have a bit of a garden plan to work to, with lots of grasses and asters and veronica, all sorts of really lovely things that are going to go in here. So it's starting to look colourful already. This lovely blue colour is quite unusual, so I do like to grow Cynoglossum. It was aimed at a wedding in mid-June, which it wasn't quite ready for, but it's coming into its own now. And it's great for saving seed. The Daucus is flowering its socks off. The one lot of cornflower has been replaced with Cosmos cupcakes. The Scabiosa is really coming into its own. This is autumn sown. The other bed of cornflower here were replaced with, we've got some Helichrysum and a bit of Amobium alatum in here, and the Chrysanthemum Hippie Love Child are really doing their stuff in the bed at the end. Meanwhile, on the other side, we've got the Cynoglossum at the front, some Helichrysum which replaced the corncockle that is now starting to bud up. Still got some snapdragon, but they're few and far between. The larkspur could do with deadheading, and the clary sage, I might try cutting that right back to see if we can get some more growth for the autumn. To the left of the sweet pea arch, the larkspur frosted skies is at a perfect time right now, and the Cosmos apricotta have just in the last week started to take off. We've had a little bit of warm weather. So the spring sown ammi has been so much better too, and my phlox, creme brulee and cherry caramel, that's really coming into its own. It always looks a bit straggly to start with, but now I can see where it's going to get to. It's looking great. And oh my word, the sweet peas are suddenly starting to take off. They do love a bit of sunshine, which we did have yesterday. So yeah, I'm really pleased how they're coming on. Let's take a look. I'm still trying to remember to pinch tendrils whenever I can, and also to get the main stems tied in a little bit as well. These little clips work a treat. So a lot has changed in the perennial beds, but in the meantime, just look at this wonderful clematis. I think it's called red velvet. Probably one of my favourite new plants is this Amelia. Irish poets, just this lovely little pop of orange I absolutely adore. I've also experimented this year with Clarkia. This is Clarkia wild salmon. It's growing on me, but I'm not smitten just yet. Meanwhile, the lepidium is starting to go to seed, the wrinkled cress, the flax. We've still got some flower, but it also going to seed, starting to go to seed. And then on the other side, the scabiosa, tithonia needs some sunshine, and we've got a bit of cosmos, all replacing the alliums. At this time of year, we're saved by our perennials, and mine are just starting to get into their stride. Of course, everything comes at once. So the Achillea tarmaca is blooming beautifully, as is the gooseneck loosestrife. They're one of my favourites. The Achillea is starting to flower now. It's not my best year for Achillea. The Echinops is looking, just starting to get that little light blue tinge to it. Chrysanthemum, what can I say? Right, the greenhouse is seed central again because of the biennial sowing. Right, biennial sowing has gone quite well, and I've sown and transplanted Hesperus, Sweet William, Foxglove. I've still got a few more foxglove to transplant. They're not quite big enough yet. I had a second sowing, and also Canterbury bells, which I don't normally do, but I'm going to give those again a go again. The other thing that is looking good in the greenhouse and smells divine is the Pelargonium roses of Atta. It'll soon be up here. Onto the big greenhouse. Things are quieting down a bit in the big greenhouse. I've just got a few remaining annuals, believe it or not. So I have some foxgloves which I've just moved into some bigger pots. They're not going to stay in here for very long. Some snapdragon and some more phlox, some more annual phlox. The amaranthus has just self-sown. I seem to have a little bit of Nicotiana, which is self-sown in here, just noticed that, and some Panicum frosted explosion. Some celosia, bit of an experiment. Should do better in here, so I ought to be cutting that. And I've just planted out some zinnias into here as well. I've just got to watch the green fly. Right, let's head out and see how things are doing in the orchard. I'm actually loving how this little mini terrace is just spilling over with all my leftover flowers. Right, the dahlias are definitely a tale of two halves. We've either got some fabulous ones generally towards the top, not all, but generally towards the top, that have been flowering for a few weeks now, and some which are still trying to get ahead of the slugs. The Samuel Hopkins were the first to emerge from the ground, and they've just got ahead of the slugs and been fine, and the preference has been pretty good as well. Seems to be getting better and better actually. They were looking a bit ropey to start with, but let's have a look at some of the ones that aren't doing so well. So I think this is a white honesta here, and possibly over here too. No, that's supposed to be an Evelyn. So this white honesta and this Evelyn must have super slugs or something, because they just are not getting going at all. Dreadful slug damage. But I'm amazed with a bit of nematode application that we seem to be making a bit of progress on the dahlias. I mean, they're a little bit early, to be honest, but yeah, fingers crossed that they just keep going until September, October. Let's have a look at what was the biennial beds. These things are still a way off flowering, although the cosmos are coming on. Daucus are taking their time. I've got two beds of statice, some corn cockle at the end, which is a bit of a last minute sowing. And the calendula, which they always look weedy to start with and get bigger and bigger. So I've got a new variety called Coffee Cream, which I'm quite looking forward to seeing what that turns out like. So let's just finish off by looking at this final little patch. This oryx still looks suspiciously like a weed, but I know this year that it's not. So this will have marvellous seed pods on it. The Daucus dara is just such a lovely colour, isn't it? No carrot fly netting here, so it's looking suspiciously like some of the dill might be affected. Just down below, it's looking fine up here. Beautiful seed heads on the dill as well. Just look at that. And then finally, a little patch of snapdragon, which was spring sown, starting to get a bit stronger. And then some scabiosa, which is still a way off flowering, but looks like it's white and pink, I think, with a little tiny bit of soteria grass at the end. So next month, this should be up here somewhere, I think. Let's see. Well, thank you once again for listening in to the July garden tour. As you know, it just evolves every month, so I'm expecting in August, in a month's time, these apricotta will be up here, as will the purity, and yeah, there'll be a lot more flowers as well. So, and in the meantime, some things are going to be coming out, some more things going in. I'll be thinking about planting out my biennials next month, maybe not quite there. So lots to do all the same. See you next month. And it's a goodbye from Paddy too.